Temuera Morrison will play Boba Fett in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Jeez, this is big news. I gotta get on the horn with somebody important. People need to know about this. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon, Boba Fett will be Boba Fett will be in Season 2 of The Mandalorian.
You don't say.
Yeah, and it's gonna be Temuera Morrison.
You don't
Yep,
say.
it's the same guy who played his father Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones.
You don't say.
Why would I bullshit you? Look, I gotta go.
Who was it? He didn't say.
How's it going, everybody? This is Phil, and welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. To all of my friends, fans, subscribers, it's good to have you here. I know I've been away for a while. Always intended to come back. I'll never be gone forever, but sometimes I just got to take a break here and there. So I'm glad for those that decide to stick with me. And again, it's great to have you back. So yeah, I saw this today, and of course, big fan of The Mandalorian, and I thought this was some pretty interesting news. Casting Temuera Morrison in the role of Boba Fett. As we all know, he played Jango Fett in the Attack of the Clones, the movie directed by George Lucas. A Lucas-era alumni comes back yet again to be in Jon Favreau's series. Let's move on with the article, see what's doing here, and have a little bit of a discussion about it, shall we? Let's get going. It seems that the fan-favorite bounty hunter, Boba Fett, is set to become the latest Star Wars character to make their grand return after falling down a pit to their apparent death. The THR reporting that Star Wars Attack of the Clones star Temuera Morrison is set to take on the role in the second season of the Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian. Now, if you remember back in, of course, Season 1, it was the end of Episode 5, which was entitled The Gunslinger, and in that episode, towards the end, there was a scene where you see somebody approach the body of Fennec Shand, who had been killed by Toro, and you do not see this person, whoever they may be. So it's left kind of ambiguous, but there were some details that flagged out, at least on my end of things as a fan of the character, that led me to believe that it was Boba Fett. So I'll put a little link up in the corner of the screen here. You can go click on the video. It comes at the end. I do talk about this. But essentially, the way that the character had a gun, a sidearm on his right hip. He seemed to have a cape that was draped over the left side of his body. As he approached, he made the sound of cowboy spurs, which is, again, a signature sound trademark that Bill Burr, the great sound artist of the classic Star Wars trilogy, attributed to Boba Fett. And, of course, there was a radio frequency type of feedback noise that if you go back and you look at the original Empire Strikes Back, and actually in the special edition when Boba Fett shows up with Jabba the Hutt in that famous or infamous, depending on how you want to view it, scene with Han Solo, where they went back and digitally placed Jabba the Hutt with him in that scene. You get to hear this noise just as the end, as they're all clearing out of the docking bay, and Boba Fett walks and kind of just looks at the camera and then walks off. You hear that same radio frequency noise, and again, this is in that video. You can go and check that out, my review of Episode 5 of The Mandalorian. So I figured he was going to be in Season 2. I thought it was a nice little Easter egg that they planted in Episode 5. And here we are. Here we find ourselves today with confirmation. So Boba Fett was presumed dead way back in 1983 when he found himself knocked down into the stomach of the Sarlacc in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And while the old expanded universe revealed that he survived the encounter over the Great Pit of Carkoon that was wiped when Disney reset the continuity following its acquisition of Lucasfilm. And yep, essentially when Disney purchased, we all know Lucasfilm from Uncle George, they basically just wiped out the whole entire expanded universe, and now they've gone back in and they've cherry-picked characters and events and planets and all types of things, but it's, the great expanded universe that once was, which... And look, I mean, the expanded universe, it had some clunkers, it had some stinkers in there, but there were a lot of great characters that came out of that, a lot of great stories, and, unfortunately, when everything was decanonized, you kind of lost hope where maybe some of that stuff was going to find an interpretation where it respected the source material on the large or small screen. Again, the Lucasfilm under Disney has gone back and they've kind of picked the carcass of the expanded universe. There have been hints within the new Disney canon, however, that Boba was still alive post Return of the Jedi, with the Star Wars Aftermath novel making reference to some beaten-up Mandalorian battle armor which have been discovered in the desert, and a major tease taking place in The Mandalorian's first season episode, The Gunslinger. There you go. When a mysterious figure, complete with Fett's trademark spurs, was seen approaching the body of Ming-Na Wen's Fennec Shand. Morrison is, of course, the natural choice to portray Boba Fett. Given that he played his father Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones, Boba was revealed to be a clone of Fett, who served as the template for the clones in the Grand Army of the Republic. It is said that he will play just a small role in Season 2 of The Mandalorian, although one would suspect there may be future plans for the popular character down the line. We'd have to assume they are going to bring him back just to have him killed off quickly by Pedro Pascal's Din Djarin. The Mandalorian Season 2 is set to premiere in October 2020 and sees the returning Pedro Pascal, Gina Carano, Carl Weathers, Giancarlo Esposito, Bill Burr, alongside new cast additions Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano. Please do not screw that up. And Michael Biehn from The Terminator as a bounty hunter, which is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to actually seeing him and what his character ends up being. So just to go back here, I think one of the things that's interesting was it says that Morrison is the natural choice to portray Boba Fett. Yeah, in a sense, because they are all clones of the adult Jango Fett that we first see in Attack of the Clones. But there is also Daniel Logan. And the interesting about that is he did play him for a few episodes of the Clone Wars animated television show. Look, he's a grown man now. He's little Daniel Logan has grown up, and he's actually 32 years old. He's going to be 33 this coming June. Temuera Morrison is 59. So in the timeline, Boba Fett is actually about 41, 42 years old, somewhere around there, 43, when the show The Mandalorian is taking place. So technically, Daniel Logan is actually closer to the real age of Boba Fett in the timeline than Temuera Morrison is. It's kind of interesting. I think they could have went either way with that, especially if they want to do a spin-off show of some type. You think Daniel Logan, with just having the youth, would be the way to go. I mean, they're both New Zealanders, and I don't think anyone would have necessarily cried foul for giving the role to Daniel Logan. But I don't have an issue either way. I think Temuera Morrison is a good guy. I've seen him in some interviews, and he always comes across as a pretty genuine dude to me. So I'm happy for him. It's good to see him return into the role in a way, because of course he played Jango, and now he's playing Boba Fett. Although he did do voiceover work for Boba Fett, and as a fan, I'm still, of course, Jeremy Bulloch is always going to be Boba Fett, the man behind the mask, and Jason Wingreen, who voiced him in The Empire Strikes Back. That's always going to be the voice that I imagine coming out from underneath that helmet. Temuera's voice, it just never sat right with me. It didn't have the menace. It didn't have that kind of mysterious, dark, brooding tone that Boba Fett had. It was a kind of emotionless. There was just something about it, seemed to fit the character perfectly. But you know what? Look, again, Temuera, he is a alumni of the Lucas era, and we love the Lucas era of Star Wars. I mean, that's the Skywalker saga. That's episodes 1 through 6. Episodes 1 through 9, that is the Palpatine saga, and I'm not a fan of the Palpatine saga. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about Temuera Morrison, in a way reprising his role as a Fett in the Mandalorian. Do you like him being cast as Boba Fett? Would you have liked to have seen Daniel Logan as Boba Fett? Were you hoping that they were going to get away from the accent, the New Zealand Kiwi accent, or does it not matter to you either way? Anyway, guys, nice to have a video up after a long hiatus, and hopefully I'll be able to get one back up in not such a long time, and I look forward to hearing from people and speaking and chatting with y'all. I hope you guys have been good, safe, and healthy. Please, I hope everyone has been staying healthy. I wish you all and your families nothing but the best. Please stay safe. I will talk to you guys sometime soon. Have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.